With the revised Drinking Water Directive, we get the harmonized minimum hygienic requirements. These requirements make sure that the products that are in contact with drinking water do not affect the human health, either directly or indirectly. They also make sure that the sensory qualities of the water are not affected, neither the odor, the color, or the flavor, that the microbial growth is not enhanced. They also make sure that there is no leakage of contaminants into the drinking water above a certain threshold. The transitional period is defined in the Delegated Regulation 370 from 2024, and it aims to give the manufacturer some more time to transfer from the national conformity certificates to the EU certificates. It's also very important to note that the certification process takes a lot of time. It's very time consuming, and without the transitional period, it is now impossible to make sure that the products that are now on the market or being placed on the market will be certified, all of them, by 1st of January 2027. Additionally, not all manufacturers know yet if their product will meet the requirements in the future for the new Drinking Water Directive, so they have to conduct the tests, and they need time for the product optimization. They should be aware that not all products will be on the market after 1st of January 2027, and they also have to be aware to check that their products, if they want to use them, have either a national conformity certificate behind them or an EU declaration that is being based on an EU certificate issued by a notified body. If neither a national conformity confirmation exists or an EU declaration based on the EU certificate by a notified body, the product shall not be or must not be sold in the EU market. Conformity assessment body is per definition a body that can perform all of the procedures, namely the testing, the auditing, and the certification. Here at OFI we had the great advantage that we already have obtained a lot of experience with testing, auditing, and also certification for products in contact with drinking water within the German regulation, the KTW certification. And overall, the certification procedures are very similar to the now new EU Drinking Water Directive. But of course, familiarizing oneself with the differences in classification of products in those different risk groups was also a little bit of a challenge, also adding testing procedures that OFI had to implement for the future. However, there are new EU positive lists that have been instated with different thresholds and materials values, also new testing methods like the screening for non-intentionally added substances, as well as the migration test in chlorinated water. In the end, the principles of the formulation, the testing, the analysis will be the same. The only thing added for manufacturers that are not currently in the Austrian regulation will be the parameter of flavor. There will be a huge advantage for manufacturers because as application for the EU certificate is valid across the whole European Union, kind of financial strain on manufacturers that try to target many different member states or markets will be drastically reduced. The new EU Drinking Water Directive will ensure the safety of products in contact with drinking water across the whole European Union. This will definitely lead to improvement regarding the drinking water safety and quality. Drinking water is our most precious good we have on the planet, so we have the moral obligation to make sure that it is safe for consumption and that the products that come into contact with the drinking water do not impede the quality or the safety.